Paris, thank you. It's a stressful time for anyone behind on the rent. The Illinois moratorium on evictions officially ended yesterday. That could mean thousands of Chicagoans could be facing eviction and foreclosure. And according to a recent U.S. Census Bureau survey, more than 60,000 Illinoisans say they're likely to face eviction in the next 2 months. Joining us to share information about what services are available for those in need are Chicago Department of Housing Commissioner Marisa Novara and Michelle Gilbert, Legal Director at the Lawyers Committee for Better Housing. Thanks to both of you and welcome back to Chicago tonight. Commissioner Novara, let's start with you, please. So Illinois' eviction moratorium we know ended yesterday. What resources are available to renters who are served eviction notices?
Yes, thanks, Brandes. There are three main messages we want to get across to renters. One is do not self-evict. Only a Cook County sheriff can evict you. So even if a landlord has served you an eviction notice, it does not mean you need to move out right away, especially if you don't have a safe place to go. The second thing is that there is free legal help available. You can go to rentervention.com or chicago.gov/eviction. And the third thing is that there also is financial help available. And there's more on that at chicago.gov/renthelp. So three things: do not self-evict, there is free legal help, and there is financial help available.
What requirements are do need to be met for rental assistance?
So under the current guidelines, the first round of rental assistance program that we received from late 2020 legislation, people need to be able to show that they had a COVID-related impact to their ability to pay rent. They need to be under 80% of the area median income, and we just need to see that documentation. And under these guidelines, renters and landlords actually both need to apply. If we don't hear from a landlord, we will make 3 efforts to reach them. And if we can't make a match, at that point, we will proceed with payment directly to the tenant.
And Michelle Gilbert, we just heard from Commissioner Novara, some advice for folks who might be facing eviction. What do you all tell people who might be in danger of being evicted from their homes?
Well, definitely if someone gets a summons to go to eviction court, they should go to court. I know that going to court is scary if that's not something you've done before, but the resources are available right there in the Zoom courtroom. So court is by Zoom. If a tenant gets that summons and they don't use Zoom, then they can go to a common area in the Daily Center. It's socially distanced. Someone from the judge's staff can help them get onto Zoom. If anyone that had ever been to eviction court before, it was the past practice that first court date was a trial. And the Cook County courts, working with the Cook County government, the city, and a consortium of legal aid agencies have made some changes in those practices. That first court date is not a trial. It's a date where someone can ask to be assigned to the early resolution program, and that's either a landlord or a tenant who can't afford an attorney. And they're gonna get sent right into a Zoom room where they consult with an attorney for free.
Okay. Commissioner Novara, some estimates say that more than 60,000 Illinoisans expect eviction in the next couple of months. What has the city seen? Have you all received a large number of inquiries?
Well, the truth is it's very hard to know. We know that in other localities around the country whose moratoriums have ended earlier than ours, they have actually not seen a spike in evictions. We did have a prediction earlier this year by the Lawyers Committee, actually, that approximately 20,000 households might be at risk of eviction in the city of Chicago proper. But that was before both the city and the state began distributing emergency rental assistance program dollars. And so we have been able to assist almost 5,500 households since we began. The state has more than matched that. So we don't yet know the exact impact of those resources. Our hope, of course, is that the point was for it to stabilize people and keep them in their homes and get the money flowing to their landlords who may be needing the funds as well. The other truth here is that we are able with these funds to pay ahead in advance 3 months. And landlords, when they agree to take the funds, also agree that they cannot evict for another 90 days after their last payment. So what that effectively means is that we're looking out 6 months if for someone who's getting this assistance. And so it could be that if someone has not been able to be stabilized and able to pick up the rent by that point, that we might be seeing evictions later down the line and not as much of a rush right now. We just aren't sure yet.
Okay. Michelle, your nonprofit focuses on representing low-income renters. Which communities are the most likely to be impacted by a moratorium ending?
Well, there's no question that communities of color are the ones that are hardest hit by eviction generally. Our eviction data bank analyzes Chicago eviction records. We know that the South Shore community, the Austin community have very high rates of eviction. So it's very important to us to outreach to those communities and to let them know that we're available to help.
And Michelle, what are you hearing from clients about the strain that the pandemic has had that is placed on their livelihood and their living conditions?
I mean, it's been very difficult. People, we're seeing tenants who are still not back to work, or maybe they're back part-time. They're still worried. We definitely have had an uptick in calls. Sadly, we also see landlords who are engaging in what illegal eviction practices, locking people out. And of course, it's a much better way to go to apply for rental assistance. I mean, we know that it's been tough on landlords and tenants, and that's why the rental assistance is here. It's to support the housing community generally.
Okay, and that's where we'll leave it. Our thanks to Housing Commissioner Marisa Navarra and Michelle Gilbert for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandis.